Uh, British comedy has been built upon supremely talented supporting actors who have helped to shape the genre. How significant do you think character actors are to the story of British comedy?
I think they're absolutely vital because those are the things that we look at, that we identify with, and that we laugh with. And they reflect our society. And throughout history, we've needed the arts in general to reflect the madness or the joy or the tragedy that's going on. And in comedy, it's important to have the characters because we all know people in those comedies that we laugh with. And I did a show called The British Empire, and everyone knows a Mr. British who's a Jobsworth guy who drives everyone nuts. So that's why it's important.
Hmm. You mentioned British Empire there. In 1991, I believe you secured the iconic role of a voluptuous, sexually frustrated receptionist, Carol. Um,
Thank you. I just thought of her as a receptionist, but I'll take the rest.
what were your first impressions of the role? And in your opinion, how did the keep fit fashions of the time help with the popularity of the series?
I think it was a time when everyone started going to the gym. It was something that was, became normal for people. And it was, I think it was fantastic because it gave people an access to a world that they were beginning to know as well. And what was the beginning of the question again?
What were your first impressions of the role?
My first impressions of Carol were, I remember reading for the audition, and it says she cries all the time. And I thought, well, that's interesting, but crying all the time doesn't sound, it's kind of a one note thing, but trying not to cry is more interesting, which developed that way of speaking. So sometimes she was really, really, really slow and high and, like that. And other times she was really, really fast because she was trying to cope. So again, it gave it more to play with. So again, character wise, she cries all the time. I tried not to cry all the time because she was crying all the time. So it's a way of working it to create the character. So it was fun immediately. It was going to be something that was going to give me lots to play with.
Yeah. Carol was such a memorable character with her sort of blatant incompetence, but she was allowed. Um, but in the series, there were moments of surrealism, which was something unheard of in mainstream BBC sitcoms. As an actor, to what extent did you feel responsible for the show's surreal moments?
I think we all did. We all enjoyed it. I mean, we blew up the centre about 3 times. There was an ostrich running around it. There's, all sorts of crazy stuff. And we all felt not responsible, but part of the joy of creating something that was extreme and crazy and out of the ordinary that made it even more funny.
Hmm. Not content with contributing to just one 90s comedy classic, you starred in two. In your opinion, how did Absolutely Fabulous capture the world of PR spin of the time?
Well, again, Absolutely Fabulous was revelatory. It was amazing because it was women. It was wonderful because it was comedy. Jennifer and I had been at drama college together, so we've known each other for 40 something years. And I've been very privileged and honoured to work with French and Saunders because Dawn, Jen, and I were all together. French and Saunders, Girls on Top, Ab Fab, Mirrorball. I've had the most amazing time with darling friends. It's been fantastic. I think it was important because it gave women a different platform. And again, very different, diverse women who were reflecting the 80s, 90s kind of louche privilege. And it was interesting to put women in that particular situation as also being powerful.
Yeah. Although you weren't part of the nucleus of characters which made up the main cast, it was your on-screen chemistry with Helen Lederer which became a popular theme of the show. What was it about the relationships which became a perfect dynamic for comedy?
Again, Helen and I have been lucky enough to work together a lot, even before Ab Fab. And she was a wonderful stand-up comedian. And we all just hung out together. We were friends. And so again, it was an instantaneous kind of camaraderie that we then transported into different characters who, were brilliantly written for us and developed for us. And again, it was a time when comedy was allowed to evolve. So if you didn't get the ratings on day one, your show could go on for a whole series or two to allow it to evolve. And my character started, I gave her a slightly weak R, pronouncing words like that. And the more I did that character wise, Jen then wrote me lots of stuff with R's in it. And interestingly enough, I'm doing Panto in Stafford this year. And for the first time ever, I'm playing a fairy godmother, because normally I play psychotic crazies. And they're doing Fairy Fleur. So Fairy Fleur is the fairy godmother for Cinderella, using my character from Ab Fab. So I'm again honoured and thrilled that it has this kind of perpetual motion and fun. And again, people identify and know people like that, and that's the fun of it all.
Yeah. What are your memories of working with the legendary June Whitfield?
She was the kindest, most normal, natural, wonderful woman. And yeah, it was an absolute joy. Again, the whole company of Ab Fab was fantastic. It was just friends.
Beyond sitcom, you appeared in the British heartfelt comedy Calendar Girls. Based on the inspirational experience of such an emotional story, how much pressure did you all feel under to perfectly gauge an appropriate tone for the drama?
Well, I think that's all in the writing. It's not for us to gauge. It's we bring life to the text. And in Calendar Girls, the movie, I did, and I also did initially the musical, because I've done lots of musicals as well. I did the musical when it premiered in Leeds Opera House and then at the Lowry, again, playing a very bitchy woman. In the film, I played the head of the WI, and I worked with Helen Mirren and Judy Walters. And then when I was in the musical, when it premiered, I was the head of the WI in the town. So it's, again, a kind of similar thing, but I think the writing says it all. And the true story of those women says it all. And that's what's important.
Yeah. Embracing new technologies, you've also found time to launch your own YouTube channel entitled The Wonderful Birds Show, alongside Sherry Hewson, Debbie Arnold, and Dee Anderson. In a world of 360 content, to what extent is this an early glimpse of what light entertainment will look like in the future?
It's called The Wonder Birds, and it's called The Wonder Birds because Dee's parents created Thunderbirds. And when we were talking about what should we call this chat show, which is for mature women talking a load of bollocks and having a laugh, which is the plan. We did it in lockdown because, again, it gave us a sort of voice and fun. And as we're on Zoom now, Zoom is the thing that you sort of connected people in a way that you couldn't do before. And that was the drive for it, really. And it's about sharing stuff and thoughts and feelings, and not, when it's on YouTube, you have a freedom that you don't have on television. You can use different terminology and share your feelings more. And it's been an amazing sort of almost 3 years of, shows every week with amazing people to come and chat to us. And perhaps, Josh, you'd like to be one. It'd be great. And, I think it's important. It was, again, I think technology is everything now. And although I'm 65, I'm on TikTok, even though the demographic is 11 to 15. I'm there, darling, because what else am I going to do? Do you remember your grandparents going, oh, no, I can't work the CD, I can't work the video, I can't work. I'm not going to be like that. Bollocks to that. I want to keep moving forward all the time. Why not?
Yeah.
And to have the immediacy of the phones that we use, of the technology that can be in our hand, to share things in the moment, to get news bulletins, to get information, to message your bank and say, I know I'm overdrawn, whatever. We have that. We don't have to go somewhere to do it. We can do it ourselves. The power of technology is fantastic. Like we're talking now. Mm-hmm. Like you've got questions for me, Josh. It's like, it's absolutely, can I swear?
Of course you can.
It's fucking brilliant.
Not easy.
Josh said he's not even on TikTok. Maybe we'll have to
get on it. What the hell are you doing? Come on.
Yeah. Procrastinating.
Get on it. This is today. Oh, I'm not political. I talk about joy in life. I have a fun camp time. And why not? Because we might as well. It's communication. And again, it's when we are powerless. And I was supposed to be doing a tour at the moment of a show, and our producer pulled it 3 days before we were supposed to start. To come and do something like this is a joy because we can. It doesn't matter. We have the reins. You have the reins to do these interviews because of technology. We have to do it. So get on TikTok, eyes on.
Yeah, we'll do it. Looking back at your career, what's your proudest achievement?
I think just sticking at it for 40 fucking years. Because I'm so glad. Again, I think the arts and creativity, don't get me wrong, there are assholes everywhere in this world. But the arts is one of acceptance, equality, and it doesn't matter who you love, what religion you are, whatever. It doesn't matter, you're accepted. It's part of a unity that we're together. And that is the sort of the essence of the people that we are, creative. And it's non-judgmental. I mean, like I said, yeah, there are difficult people and difficult times and all of that. But in the main, as a culture, it's one of being together.
Yeah.
And what else are we doing? And what's the point if we're not?
Lastly, what's next for Harriet Thorpe? TikToks, I suppose.
Standard, yeah, of course. That's all else in the new. I'm off to Panto, as I said, shortly in Stafford. And after that, who knows? When people said in lockdown, oh, I've been, what is it? What is it when you're, oh, God, you have to edit this, darling. I'm sorry. When not renegade, not recycled, when they were put out of work.
Redundant?
No, they're not made redundant. That's another one. Furloughed. There we go.
Furloughed.
We got there.
Oh, okay.
So I'll start that again. When people said, oh, I've been furloughed, I'm like, yeah, and actors are furloughed all the effing time. We do a job, you think and then you're working, and then suddenly you're in the wilderness again, in free fall, and you can't care. It's that's how we are. You get off the pity pot, crack a smile, and get on. It's fine. And because we have social media at our fingertips, we can keep going. So my proudest moment is sticking at it, loving the culture that I'm in. And it doesn't matter whether you're 9 or 90. We're together.
Great.
I have been my life being
Josh here spends his whole life being furloughed.
Yeah.
Wait for the next interview.
Yeah, I know. But I totally get it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But doing this is a joy because it's about communication, and communication is everything.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, seems like a good way to end.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
No, thank you guys. Really lovely to start my day. Thank you.